Hi! Okay, so look, I already have my 4 shelves organized, as you can see. I mean, organized, built. But the books aren't really organized yet. No rhyme or reason. I just put in all the authors together and all the series. But so far, there is no logical arrangement. Okay, so anyway, I am making the short. Probably going to be rambly because I didn't really plan to create this video and I didn't make any clips, but I want to talk about Strange Weather in Tokyo by Hiromi Kawakami, and this is my first book from this author. And this one actually includes a companion story, which I really enjoyed a lot. So if you can find an edition with the companion story, you should get that one. Okay, why did I pick up this book? First of all, it's so cozy looking. This bizarre woman is floating inside it looks like a convenience store at first with this like fridge here, but when you look here there are tables, so I'm guessing it's like sort of a like those kinds of barbecue restaurants probably in Japan. And this is a love story, but since it is literary fiction, you won't really expect it to have any exciting plot, and it is mainly just, you know, following our character. And the main theme of this book is actually loneliness. Okay, let me adjust. I don't know how I like to put this in as a background. Okay, it's all about loneliness. She is 37 years old when she saw her old high school teacher. Like, he looked familiar when she saw him. And that is because he was the high school teacher for Japanese studies, I think. So sort of like literature teacher. And at first they like see each other, and then later on they say hi to each other, and then the professor also recognizes her, and he even tells her that she has not changed, like she still looks the same. So at first I was like a little bit queasy, uneasy about the fact that this was her teacher back then, but then I remember that like she's a grown woman, okay, and he is around like 60 plus years old. So we see a development in their relationship, but the kind of love that they have is not the typical kind of passionate, romantic, very heated love as you would probably expect, let's say, from like teenagers or younger people. It's more of a quieter love, more on needing each other's companionship. And I like how they don't actually meet up. I mean, they don't make plans to meet up. They just hang out when they see each other, they drink, and then they talk. And it's the most bizarre things, the things that they talk about. But yeah, I especially love the stories that the professor had of his ex-wife. Like, it's so funny. The thing with the mushrooms and her being going arf 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 on the dinner, like the dinner during dinner, it's just hilarious. I mean, it's deadpan humor when he is telling the story about her wife, but you know, I love I love his wife. She is such a character. And I did annotate bits of this because, you know, that's what literary fiction does to me. It makes me want to comment on things. And okay, look at the first chapter title, okay, The Moon and the Batteries. And I'm like, okay, the moon, it's so easy to twist that or spin that into something poetic, because you know the moon is quite poetic, but batteries, what is that about? And Hiromi Kawakami was able to make it so poignant and profound, the idea of batteries, which is mainly about the batteries. Like, the professor was having a hard time disposing his batteries because they, like, when he takes the tester out and he tests his old batteries, they still have, like, the needle still goes like this in the tester, so it still is showing the slightest signs of life, and he feels bad for throwing them out when they're not completely empty yet. And it sort of made me think about how, you know, when we ourselves, when we're young, when we have our whole life ahead of ourselves, we have all the energies, we can use it to on whatever we want. But sometimes we do some really foolish things, like spending our energies into things that don't really matter at all, or maybe negative things, you know, dwelling on the negative things in our lives, which really though we shouldn't do that. Yeah. So, and then I'm thinking about the batteries being just left inside the bureau, and he will one day test the batteries again to see if they're really dead, and then he can dispose them. So that sort of like, and even just like talking to a man who is this old and wise, you sort of realize that, hey, this person has lived his entire life. And you know, when you're in your own body, you feel like life is all about you, obviously, because you're an individual, you're a human. The most important person to you is yourself and your loved ones, right? So when you think about these old people and they've had their life, like, how could it feel to have already spent your life and you're close to the end, like you're almost gonna die? Like, how does that feel? And that sort of made me feel a little bit wistful. And yeah, anyway, the settings here, obviously perfect read for a rainy day because it's so cozy. I don't drink beer or whatever, wine. They drink a lot and then they eat a lot too. Our main character is sort of a gourmand, which is a new word that I learned. Gourmand means someone who is basically a gourmet person, someone who likes good taste, food, eating food for its good taste. Yeah. And there are also aspects of this person, our main character, being approached by someone from her high school who used to like her, and she knew that, I mean, like, she had a feeling that he used to like her, but then for some reason she just feels uneasy around him, or there's something that is stopping her from engaging with this guy, and that is because she's falling in love with her professor, which is so odd. Maybe she finds it odd as well, but I think the main reason why they have developed this relationship is because they're comfortable with each other. And they, like, when she is walking alone, like, she definitely feels that sensei, so she calls him sensei is just around the corner, or he's just somewhere out there, and like thinking about him makes her not lonely. The idea of sensei existing elsewhere in this world, or in Tokyo even, just that thought comforts her, and I think that is such a beautiful thing. Yeah. So yeah, the formatting of this is not linear. I mean, yeah, it's not linear. I mean, okay, I guess linear, but then it flashes back to her past and his past. I mean, okay, mostly on the main character's past. But I like how each chapter doesn't go on. I mean, this spans like maybe 2 or 3 years, but you won't really know where in that 2 or 3 years you are in, if you know what I mean. It's just that not every chapter is like every day, or the story isn't spanning a week or a month. Yeah, so I like that. It's sort of seeing the slices of life. Yeah. What I did find fascinating here is they spent a lot of time drinking and eating and all that, and then there wasn't much talk about her going to work, which is kind of unique because in Japanese culture, you know, they always spend their time working. Or yeah, maybe the book focused more on the weekends. So there's that. And right at the end, what I really enjoyed, okay, so needless to say, I liked Hiromi Kawakami's writing, or since this is translated work, yeah, the way that she probably told the story, yeah, so there's a deadpan humor that I admire, that I really enjoyed. And there's a bravery as well. I can't really. And okay, so yeah, obviously I'm blabbering. Can you see me blabbering, getting all flustered with the things that I want to say? And at the very end, there's an afterword, and what our what our author said, she said that the world that exists behind the story is never fully known, not even to the author. And you know, that's what that is what I've always thought about with books, like literary fiction, or any kind of books actually. So after you read a story, the world still goes on. Like within this book, is still happening. There are still characters here that are living their life. Like what happened to the other characters? Like these characters, like what could they be doing now that the story has ended? What could they be doing now? Also, what are their backstories? What are the minor character stories and their own lives as well? Like that is so fascinating to me. And even like this author, she legitimately said, I mean, she put it into words, the thing that has been bothering me. Like, what do authors think about their books after they've written them, like, and it's already finished, like there's an ending to the story? What happens next? And that is something that is really interesting. Like, I always think about that after reading books, especially literary fiction, obviously. Because, you know, for books like a book I recently read, People We Meet on Vacation, I imagine that they're still together. But then I can also imagine that they're arguing about, I mean, they ended on a good note. This story ended on a good note. But I know that Poppy and Alex are, you know, they were not sure if they continue to be together, because I know like Alex wants kids and Poppy just really wants to spend their time together. Like, see, so like I don't know, is it really a happy ending, or is it just this part of their story? Okay, I'm blabbering. Yeah, so anyway, and that is the magic of literature. It's endless, basically, this whole world. So anyway, I love this. I love reading this. Perfect rainy day read. I agree with the hesitant intimacy here, comment here, and a dreamlike spell of a novel. Definitely, because I don't like reading this. I can imagine like a sort of filter. Not entirely sepia, but like a very cool toned environment, and even the smells, like, I don't know, really good. It takes you places. So that is all for this video, and thank you for watching.